presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest.
Whether it's while the Rangers are on a roll or when they're in need of a stopper to end a losing skid, they've gotten the same Cole Hamels every time out. All the plot and supply, cool as a cucumber, steady as a rock, a fiery competitor. Quite simply, the ace. In the midst of a good run, your Rangers are happy to have him up tonight. He'll face the Detroit Tigers next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by high-speed internet from AT&T. It is a partly cloudy, very warm and breezy night here at Globe Life Park. The threat of rain is low. The threat of a Ranger offensive outburst very high. Tonight, it's Game 2 of the three-game set. Your Rangers hosting the Detroit Tigers. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us on this Saturday night of Ranger baseball. Rangers scoring 8 runs for the second straight night last night. And Cole Hamels sitting on the bench watching and said, hey, guys, save some for me. They've got plenty left for him. And Cole Hamels has been pitching well, Tom, since the break.
He definitely has, Buzz. He had 2 subpar starts right before the break. Starts where he didn't get out of the 5th inning. Since the break, he's had 5 starts, and they've gone pretty well. On the season, he's 12-3. He's 4th in the league in ERA. Since the break, his ERA is under 2. Great strikeout to walk ratio. Opponents are hitting less than 200 against him. So following up a nice start by you, Darvish, you count on Cole Hamels to do the same thing against the Tigers tonight.
Now, Cole has been good since the break. He has been good against the Detroit Tigers, and he'll have to be because the Tigers have some great offensive weapons, namely Miguel Cabrera, Ian Kinsler, Victor Martinez, and company. We'll come back to Globe Life Park with the starting lineups and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, a gorgeous evening here, unlike last night, which we saw a 2-hour and 42-minute rain delay. No delays in the offing this evening, just Ranger baseball against the Tigers. And before we get underway, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, as you and Tom talked about at the top of the show, that 1-2 punch of Yu Darvish and Cole Hamels, definitely a luxury for this Rangers coaching staff, and Jeff Bannister says it's definitely intentional.
In the planning part of that, it obviously, like the day before, when the ability to use our bullpen a little bit differently, knowing that we have these two guys back-to-back, that the chances are they're going to give us some really good length in their start. Plus, manage games a little bit differently in the sense of how you deploy guys off the bench and what you need to do in scoring runs and trying to really win baseball games.
So obviously a strategic move to have those two guys back-to-back. There you heard the thoughts of Jeff Bannister on exactly why they have that Darvish-Hamels combo going in the same, or in consecutive days, I should say, Buzz.
All right, and thank you very much. Yeah, that is a luxury to have. Hey. And Cole Hamels out there tonight. Quick start with Ian Kinsler at the plate. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kinsler. Ian, the leadoff man for the Tigers, a .292 average with 21 home runs and 62 runs driven in. 2-1. And Cole Hamels, we talked about him since the All-Star break overall this year. This is 24th start. He is 12-3. 2.89 ERA. That's second in the American League. A .231 opponent's average against him is up among the top 5. He evens the count now to Kinsler at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, Cole Hamels against these Tigers, 3-1 lifetime with a .346 earned run average. Down the right field line, but that's going to slice and go foul.
All right.
Nice play by the ball girl.
Nice play.
Well positioned, got a good break on the ball, stood up at just the right time.
She was trying not to smile.
Perfect.
Oh, I think the young guy behind her might have had it if she didn't catch it.
Another 2-2. Got him swinging. Hamels that cutter down and in. And Kinsler gone on strikes. That's how we get underway tonight. Take a look at the Detroit Tiger lineup. Tom's going to tell you about it.
Well, you just saw Ian Kinsler. Batting second is the third baseman, Casey McGee. Miguel Cabrera will bat third. Victor Martinez is the DH. He's the cleanup hitter. J.D. Martinez is fifth. Justin Upton in left field will bat sixth. Mike Aviles gets the start. First time we've seen him play center field. Casey McGee singles to center field. Jared Saltalamacchia is the catcher, and Dixon Machado making his big league debut as the shortstop.
No, Casey McGee not wasting any time. Took the first pitch right back through the middle against Cole Hamels, and Tigers have their first base runner.
They got a low fastball down around the knees. Found a hole with that ground ball.
So 1 on, 1 out. McGee at first, and Miguel Cabrera will come to the plate. Cabrera steps in hitting .310 for the year. 26 home runs, 76 RBI. Hamels gets the call strike on the inside corner. Cabrera against Hamels in previous matchups. It's all gone Cabrera's way. He's gone 8 for 15. It's a .533 average. Outfield deep and just about straight away, as is the infield. Foul ball. Hamels pounding Cabrera inside. We'll take a look at the Ranger defense while we have a second here. It's brought to you by Chicken Express. Jurickson Profar, the start in left. He's joined by Ian Desmond and Shin-Soo Choo in center and right. Moreland, Odor, Andrus, and Beltre around the infield with Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. The 32-year-old southpaw, Cole Hamels. Fly ball well hit right center field. Choo and Desmond. It's Desmond making the call on the catch. Choo pulled up and Desmond taking charge. Out number 2.
Yep, that's exactly, Buzz, how it's supposed to work out there. They both go after it. Choo keeps going until Desmond calls him off, and he did. Shin-Soo got out of the way, and Ian made the play. Center fielder is the traffic cop out there in the outfield.
Ian, you can see him calling for it, and finally, he was finally close enough to Choo that Choo could hear him calling for it. No, well done defensively for the Rangers. 2 outs, and Victor Martinez, the switch hitting designated hitter. Martinez having another solid offensive year. And he pokes one out to Rougned Odor. Skimmer out to the second baseman, and that'll do it. Oh, 1 hit for the Tigers, a stranded runner. We've gone through half the play. The Tigers nothing, the Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. I'm going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Rangers batting order.
Shin-Soo Choo will again be the leadoff hitter. Ian Desmond is batting second. Adrian Beltre is 12 for his last 26. That's a .462 average. He's playing third and batting third. Carlos Beltran is the cleanup hitter. Rougned Odor is batting fifth. Jonathan Lucroy coming off a beautiful game last night with a couple of home runs. Catches and bats sixth. Mitch Moreland is at first base. Jurickson Profar gets the start in left field, and batting ninth is the shortstop Elvis Andrus.
And that lineup for Jeff Bannister facing the 25-year-old southpaw Matt Boyd. Deals strike 1 to Shin-Soo Choo. Boyd, fastball, curveball, changeup. Is becoming a crafty left-hander. Rangers have had success against him by making him get the ball up in the strike zone. If you can do that, you take away one of his prime weapons, and that's that changeup down out of the strike zone. Rangers have had good luck against Boyd, and they look to continue that here tonight. Boyd has a 7.63 ERA against the Rangers. Choo gets jammed and rolls out to Kinsler, the second baseman, 1 gone.
Number 20, Ian Desmond.
And that'll bring up Ian Desmond. Matt Boyd 0-3 previous matchups with Texas. The last outing he had against the Rangers last September. The Rangers lit him up for 6 runs in just 2 2/3 innings. Well, here's Desmond, a .292 average. Ian, 20 home runs, 70 RBI. Desmond, another multi-hit game last night. They were both infield hits, but he will take them. certainly the Rangers will take it. And starting to get things turned around a little bit. Went into a little bit of an offensive downturn for a while. And he's got a 4-game hitting streak alive as Boyd gets the inside corner. 1-2. Desmond's 2-hit game last night, his 43rd multi-hit game of the year. It's good for a tie for 3rd in the American League. Lunging at that outside pitch, and it's out of play. Still 1-2. Tiger defense tonight, Upton Aviles in center, and J.D. Martinez in right. Cabrera and Kinsler on the right side. Machado and McGee on the left side, with Jared Saltalamacchia catching. Dixon Machado just called up from AAA today, and for the injured Jose Iglesias. Machado will tell you a little bit more about him. He came up very briefly last year. He is one of the better prospects the Tigers have in their minor league system. There he is out there at shortstop. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes to Desmond. Now 2-2. Ian continuing to swing the bat well here at home. He's a .272 hitter in the last 47 games at Globe Life Park. Little pop up off the fist. Kinsler angling out. Second baseman takes care of it. There are 2 gone.
When you look at Boyd's numbers so far this year, he's got a high ERA, but he's got a good number of strikeouts, almost a strikeout per inning. Walks are slightly above average. And he's given up 10 home runs. That's probably one of the main factors accounting for a high ERA. 10 home runs in 55 innings. He's pitching really well in the minor leagues. He had a losing record, but a really good ERA.
Adrian Beltre is next, and he takes strike 1. Beltre a .284 average now. That's as high as his average has been in about a month and a half. 0-2 very quickly. Beltre 18 home runs. He's the team leader with 73 driven in. Rangers come into play tonight with a 7.5 game lead on Seattle, an 8-game lead on Houston. There's a base hit by Beltre by the dive of McGee into left field. Well, Adrian just reaching out and poking that, and he can reach out and poke it and still get a line drive sharply somewhere.
Yeah, he was out in front of it. Looked like he lunged a little bit, but he hit it right on the barrel of the bat. The ball still jumped off his bat by McGee at third base. Pitch looked like a cutter or slider down and in. And solidly hit into left field.
No 1 on 2 out. Here is Carlos Beltran. First ball swinging, and he pulls it foul. 0-1. Beltran, of course, the switch hitter. Average with the Rangers overall at .333 for the year, including the time with the Yankees. A .306 hitter. It's in the top 10 of the league. 24 home runs, 69 runs driven in. It is second Ranger home run last night. Hit it right down the right field line. 1-1. And let's take a look at our Ford leaderboard. Since the All-Star break, Rangers 2 home runs short of the St. Louis Cardinals, but the highest number in the American League for the Rangers. 41 of them. There's a high drive to left field. Upton circling back now, coming in a couple of steps. That'll do it. Rangers get a 2-out single from Beltre, but stranded. We have played 1 at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Rangers nothing, Tigers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. First inning, no score as we head to the second. J.D. Martinez, Justin Upton, and Mike Aviles, the first three Tigers to face Cole Hamels. There's last night's starter and winner. Darvish getting the first win since coming back off the disabled list. Took him 6 starts, but that's his third very good start last night that he turned in against the Tigers. Finally had one pay off for him. Rangers scoring 8 runs for him. 1-0 the count. And Hamels misses a bit low. It's 2 balls and no strikes. J.D. Martinez, a .298 average, 14 home runs, 42 driven in. One of the many Tigers that has spent a significant amount of time on the disabled list this year. J.D. Martinez off the DL a couple of weeks ago. Chops that foul.
Yeah, the Tigers are a team that's really been hurt by injuries this year. In fact, right now they've got 3 regulars on the disabled list. Iglesias, their shortstop, Maben, their center fielder, and Castellanos, their third baseman. All good young players. And 2 starting pitchers, Zimmerman and Pelfrey, are both on the disabled list. Well, they're trying to hang in there with their injuries. Rangers know all about that. They've had years where they've had the same kind of injuries. Just have to hope that you've got the depth to make up for it. They've still got a good lineup. Even with those 3 regulars out of the lineup, they've still got plenty of guys that can hit their lineup.
2-2 now. Right back up the middle. Odor can't get it. He dove over the top of it. And J.D. Martinez is aboard with a leadoff single.
Batting 6, left fielder.
No one on, nobody out. Justin Upton coming up. We're going to say hello to Jim Knox.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Great game, great crowd, great weather. Got the Smith family with some good news. What's that about you just told me?
The good news is the Smith family just found out today that we're going to have a 4th generation Smith, a young boy for Josh and his wife, Kinsey.
All right, good news. And they got everybody else here at the game. Good to have you. And oh my goodness, look at this guy right here. Let me see this. Give me that. Where did my baseball go? Let me try him out here. Boom, perfect. All right, he's ready for Beltray tonight. There we go.
Justin Upton not wasting any time. He skies out to Jurickson Profar in left.
Batting 7.
A 1 out now with Martinez still at first. And Mike Aviles will come in. Profar gets his first action in left field this evening. Jurickson making his 5th start overall in the outfield defensively for the Rangers.
Yeah, you can tell it's getting later in the season. Earlier in the season, there'd be a little bit of sun shining out there right now, but entirely shade out in left field.
That's a good thing.
That's a real good thing for the left fielder. Instead of saying, please don't hit it to me, they're ready for it now. Although that last one, high like that, that's never been a problem.
Aviles hooking one down the left field line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Profar plays the carom. Martinez will stop at third. Aviles into second with a 1-out double. Mike Aviles hitting just .202, but he reached out and hooked that ball into the corner off of Cole Hamels.
He's hitting .202. He's only had 6 extra base hits the whole year. He got pretty much the same kind of a pitch that Adrian got. Adrian hit his between short and third for a base hit. He got it up in the air and hooked it right down the line.
So the double puts runners at second and third, brings up Jared Saltalamacchia, who takes inside down at the shoe tops for ball 1. Saltalamacchia, of course, the former Ranger. Switch hitter backing up James McCann behind the plate. Saltalamacchia hitting .197. Check swing, and the cutter missed inside. The appeal down at first. Brian Knight said no swing. 2-0. The one thing about Saltalamacchia, if you need a strikeout, he's a guy that you more than likely can entice to swing at some pitches that are of the pitcher's variety. 3-0. Not biting on the 2-0 change. Salto Lamacchia, the number 8 hitter. Dixon Machado, the young shortstop, who will follow. Got the green light 3-0, and Hamels got him to pitch, swinging a pitch down and in.
That's kind of the time where you say you're going to limit yourself to my pitch. Instead, he swung at a pitch. It was low and inside.
Well, maybe that's his hot zone.
Maybe. Didn't look like it.
Fly ball, fairly shallow right field. Martinez is tagging. 2 with the catch, and there will be no attempt to advance. One hopper to home plate, and Lucroy had that in plenty of time. Had Martinez decided to test the arm of Chu.
Yeah, when Shin-Soo can get behind the ball like that and get his momentum coming forward, he's got a nice, smooth, strong arm. Generally pretty active. That's something that an advanced scout would know, and that's why J.D. Martinez didn't try to score on that.
Showing his pitching background.
So Salto Lamacchia swung at ball 4 on the 3-0 pitch, and that popped up, and the runner's still at third. So good job by Cole right there.
Was that ball 5 that he swung at?
That might have been a strike.
Well, here's Dixon Machado.
I think Dixon Machado is making his major league debut. Thanks for correcting me on that, Buzz. He's making his season debut for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
Well, you got to mean it and say the same thing you're thinking about.
Little tapper foul, nothing in 2.
Well, jumped ahead 0-2. Make a good pitch here and get out of a jam.
Machado coming up from AAA Toledo. He was a 266 hitter. Not a lot of power, but has some speed. 0-2 pitch from Hamels. Him on the fists again. A little roller foul. Machado taking the place of Jose Iglesias. He's a 24-year-old out of Venezuela. Still nothing in 2. Machado played in 24 games last year with the Tigers. 235. Signed with them originally in July of 2008. J.D. Martinez at third, Mike Aviles at second. Breaking ball, trying for the back door. Couldn't quite get it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, Cole Hamels trying to work around a J.D. Martinez single and a Mike Aviles double. Machado hitting out of that slightly open stance. The 1-2 offering. 2-2. No swing on the appeal.
Thought about it, started to swing, but he definitely stopped the time.
Cole sets a check of the runners. Machado not afraid to turn it loose. He been up there hacking. '16 minor league home runs on his ledger, but that's in about 700 at bats. A little bit low. Couldn't get the call from Tom Hallion, and the count has gone full.
He's thrown a couple of close pitches, off-speed pitch. It was just a little bit high. This one could have gone either way. It was called low.
So the count is full. Machado hitting ninth, will be followed by the top of the order, Ian Kinsler. Jonathan Lucroy and Cole Hamels trying to get together on the 3-2 pitch. Kinsler getting ready in the on-deck circle. Now the payoff pitch. Couldn't get him to offer at that, and it's ball 4, loads him up.
That's a decent job by Dixon Machado. Young kid and coming up for his first at bat of the season, second and third. Gets behind in the count and then laid off some tempting pitches. Borderline strikes didn't offer at him. Pretty nice job of earning that walk.
Well, Lucroy and Hamels talking about what they want to do with Kinsler. They struck out Kinsler the first time. Ian led the ball game off. Kinsler, though, 62 runs driven in. That's third on the Tiger Ball Club. So a very dangerous hitter in run producing situations. 297 average with the bases full. One and 0. Looks like one of those pitch sequences the last several hitters where Cole was not quite able to execute the pitches he has in mind. We've seen Cole go through stretches like that in some games, and get out of it, everything will go back to normal. Right off the end of the bat, Hamels able to glove it, and over to Moreland with the underhand flip. That'll do it. Nice defensive play by Cole Hamels. The Tigers leave him loaded on a couple of hits and a walk. We played 1.5. We are scoreless in Arlington. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Well, clouds departing the area. Very comfortable night. Temperature just above 90 degrees. Just a hint of a breeze out of the north, so very dry conditions. Rougned Odor starting things off. Matt Boyd drops in a curveball for strike one. Odor, Lucroy, and Moreland, the first three to face Matt Boyd here in the second. Rougned had that 271 average. He has had good success against Boyd, as you can see. Chops that next pitch foul. Of course, Odor's had good success against the Tigers, period. This year, Odor's 8 for 19 against Detroit pitching. And a career .339 hitter. Waited on it nicely, but skies it to relatively shallow center field. Aviles takes care of Odor's fly ball, one away for Lucroy.
I just want to say hi to a big Ranger fan who's just recently had some surgery. Louise Null is a big Ranger fan, and Louise, thank you for being such a good fan. Good luck with your rehabilitation. Get well soon.
Oh, one away. Jonathan Lucroy. One of the heroes, one of the big heroes of last night's ball game. Another multi-home run game, his second as a Ranger. His 8th in his career. Hitting .303 in a Ranger uniform. One ball and one strike. He is our TXU Energy power player to watch tonight. Jonathan Lucroy. There's that average we were talking about. 6 home runs since joining the Rangers, the most in the American League. 11 RBI, that's tied for 3rd in the AL. .679 slugging percentage. And he has done it all for the ball club. His work ethic has impressed everybody, especially the pitchers that have been able to work with him. Out of play to the right, 2-2. Well, last night, first time up, had a couple of runners aboard. Anibal Sanchez lost one into the bullpen. Next time up for Lucroy. This would be further off Sanchez. For the Jack Daniels club in left field. New career high for Lucroy, 19 home runs. He's gone on strikes here as Boyd got that pitch down and in for his first strikeout.
The first baseman, number 18, Mitch Moreland.
Hard slider,
Oh, 2 up, 2 away here in the second inning, and Mitch Moreland stepping in. See the numbers on that bottom line. Mitch having a very solid year, another 20 home run season, but the 3 for 8 against Boyd. That's one of the reasons why he's in the lineup tonight against the left-hander. Jeff Banister saying that those numbers and how well Mitch has been swinging the bat lately encouraged him to go ahead and forget about the left-handed left-handers matchup. He would just take Mitch in there no matter what.
Yeah, I'm a buyer with that train of thought. I think when a guy's hot, it doesn't matter who's pitching or what hand he's throwing. Put him in the lineup and see if he can stay hot.
And we see Mitch driving the ball to all parts of the ballpark too lately, which, as with most hitters, but especially with Mitch, that tells you he's staying back on the ball pretty well and letting the ball come to him. 3 balls and a strike. So Moreland with 2 outs trying to get aboard here in the Rangers' second. Jurickson Profar, the left fielder, is next. Boyd with the 3-1. Ripped to right. That is headed down into the corner. And Moreland going to have another hit off of Matt Boyd. This one a ringing double.
Now, the one thing that gets a pitcher in trouble when he faces a guy as hot as Mitch is getting behind in the count and let him narrow down the pitch to a fastball. And Mitch got in that position that time. Got ahead in the count. Got his pitch. Only thing he didn't do is get it up in the air a little bit. Just did a rope on a line.
Number 19, Jurickson Profar.
Down and on the inner part of the plate, kind of right in his power zone.
Bill Moreland with the second Ranger hit of the night. A double for Mitch. He's in scoring position. And Profar swings to the first pitch and pops it up. Kinsler and Cabrera. It's he and Kinsler, and that'll do it. So the Rangers get a 2-out double, but leave Moreland at second base. We've gone through 2 innings of play at Globe Life Park. No score. Tigers and Rangers. tomorrow will be treated to an Adrian Beltre removable helmet bobblehead. That's courtesy of Ditto Tires. Be one of the first 15,000 fans to come out to the Rangers-Tigers game tomorrow afternoon and collect this one-of-a-kind bobblehead. Find your tickets at TexasRangers.com. Remember, remove Beltre's helmet at your own peril. Casey McGee starting things off for the Tigers here in the third inning. McGee had the first inning single. Checking his bat out there after that last pitch kind of squirted off the handle. 0-2 from Hamels. Got him right on the fist, and Beltre can't get it. It's over his head and dies in shallow left field.
Jammed him a couple of times. Jammed him on that little dribbler he hit toward the Ranger dugout. And that ball went about 100 feet. Got the cutter right in on the fist, not anywhere close to a strike. It hit just above his thumbs. Adrian's playing back, but he lobbed it right over his head.
That got him right on the pine tar.
Man,
I'm surprised that didn't just stick onto the bat. No, a leadoff single. Second straight inning now that the Tigers have put their leadoff man aboard. Here's Miguel Cabrera. 1 ball and no strikes. Cabrera skied to fairly deep right center field his first time. Ranger infield plays him a step around to the left. The outfield just about straight away. Changeup floats in from Cole Hamels. 1-1. Hamels has been one of the Rangers to induce some ground ball double plays this year. 14 of them turned behind Cole so far. And Cabrera has the opportunity to ground into double plays a lot. He has grounded into 18 of them this year.
That's the third most in the American League.
It's out of play, and the count moves to 1-2. Now, with the combination of hitting the ball as hard as he does in line drives, which turn into ground balls on some good sinkers, and not being able to run real well, it's a perfect storm for double play. Hamels with a 1-2 pitch. Beltre has that go off his glove, and everybody's going to be safe.
Well, it was a hard hit ball, took a tough hop. He just gets so used to Adrian catching everything that comes his way, it's almost a surprise when he doesn't make a great play. The ball was kind of a hooking line drive. It wasn't a short hop. It bounced quite a ways out in front of Adrian. He's got it gauged. Just couldn't get it in his glove. Hit off the side of his glove.
We'll wait and see the official ruling from Steve Weller, the official scorer tonight. In any event, 2 on with nobody out. Victor Martinez, the hitter. That's going to be ruled a base hit for Miguel Cabrera. Martinez grounded to second his first time, and he takes strike 1. Victor Martinez, a candidate for a double play grounder. He's grounded into 11 of them this year. Not on this one as he pops it up into shallow right. Odor being called off by Chu, who makes the catch. That is out number 1. So first and second, 1 out now. J.D. Martinez coming up. And before he does, let's send it over to Rick Renner for a Chevy game break.
Right fielder J.D. Martinez.
All right, Rick, thank you.
Well, the Yankees are trying to get younger. Looks like they got younger today.
Sure did.
One thing to get young, but with all the trades the Yankees made, they've got some good players to do it with over the next coming 2 or 3 years. Had some pretty good prospects of their own, and they acquired a handful of really good prospects, more than a handful, a couple handfuls of them.
Yeah, the analysis after the trade that I read said the Yankees went from middle of the pack as far as prospects in the minor league system to having 9 top 100 prospects.
That's pretty good.
Elvis trying to go to third. They get to fourth. As Adrian got back to the bag in time, and Casey McGee forced at third.
The Rangers have that chemistry at short and third, and probably 2 or 3 times a year you'll see that play. It's going to be very tough to throw from there and get a force out at second. No chance at first. And a lot of times the third baseman will go for that ball. There'll be no one to cover third base. Adrian took a step. He's anticipating this throw because he can kind of think right along with Elvis. He's going to have a hard time getting a force at second. The only plays at third. I'll get over there and play it like a first baseman. So good heads-up play that you see the Rangers make 2 or 3 times a year. Don't see that made that much against the Rangers. So that's something they've got going very well for them, that chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, and I guess part of that is Adrian being able to judge whether he can get to the ball, and if he can't, he knows that Elvis is going to be there.
Yep.
No, 2 outs now. Justin Upton takes a breaking ball that swerves in the strike zone. 0-1. Upton skied to left field his first time up there. Facing Cole Hamels, a very familiar foe for Upton. He's gone 11 for 38. 0-2. Hamels again trying to work around some difficulties. He gave up 2 hits last inning and had runners at second and third, and 1 out. Got out of it unscathed. This inning, first and second, nobody out. He's gotten the next 2 and trying to get up to cap off another inning of scoreless ball. To right field, Chu has this one measured, and a nice job again by Cole Hamels. Good defense behind him, and the Tigers strand a pair. After 2.5, Rangers nothing, Tigers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. National Jersey Night, and fans who wear a Rangers jersey to the game will get to participate in a pregame parade, and you'll receive a voucher for a buy one get one ticket to select games in August. Plus, the Rangers retail locations are offering 15% off Rangers jerseys from now until August 15th. Get your tickets for Monday, August 15th at TexasRangers.com. Elvis Andrus, the number 9 man, leading things off here in the Ranger third. Scoreless ball game. Andrus then back to the top of the order against Matt Boyd. 2 balls and no strikes. Elvis at 292 for the year. 4 home runs, 50 RBI. He has gone 2 for 5 against Matt Boyd in previous matchups. 2-1. Rangers have had a hit in each of the first 2 innings. They both came with 2 outs. And both were stranded. Off the end of the bat toward Machado. 1 out. Dixon Machado with his first opportunity to field a ground ball tonight. Shin-Soo Choo coming up for the second time.
That's a good opportunity for Machado to come up and get some playing time, show what he can do. With Iglesias going on the disabled list, he should be in line to get some pretty regular playing time there.
Choo pulls one right into the shift. Third baseman McGee out there in shallow right. 2 gone.
A number of Rangers have hit the ball off the hands. Boyd done a pretty good job one time through the lineup.
I would guess that's one thing that Boyd has changed drastically since the Rangers saw him last. The desire and ability to pitch inside like that. Rangers roughed him up pretty well the last 2 times that he faced him.
And he's got a pretty good opponent's batting average, 250. And I mentioned that he'd given up 10 home runs. That's hurt him more than anything.
Ian Desmond had a pop out to second base his first time. Had a pretty good rip at that fastball. 0-2. First time that Ian Desmond has had a chance to face Matt Boyd. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Boyd to the abbreviated windup. Foul ball on the check swing. And it's still 1-2. Rangers scored 8 runs in each of the last 2 games. That second time they've done that back-to-back games this year. Last time was also against the Tigers back in May of 7th and 8th in Comerica Park. Reaching out, poking it to left. Upton coming on and makes the grab. It's a 1-2-3 inning. So Rangers gone in order. We have finished 3. We are scoreless at Globe Life Park. And now let's go to Aaron Hardigan in our Rooms to Go lounge.
the fourth here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, the second of a 3-game series between the Tigers and the Rangers, and a big day for Robinson Chirinos as he and his family handed out over 1,000 backpacks filled with school supplies to local kids in need. A number of his teammates on hand to participate in the festivities as well. Here is why Robinson says it's so important for him and his family to do this in our community.
You can get away to look around and see people in need, and I mean, here next to the stadium, 20 minutes from my house, we have people in need, like they really need our support, and to come here and do it and they have the support of my team is awesome.
I know I sound like a broken record when we talk about this stuff, but these guys really do so much, not even, you know, in the off season, but during the season, taking time out of, you know, their preparation for games and different things like that. Robinson and his family definitely among those, and it really is cool to see those guys take time out of their days, even on a game day, to do things like they did today.
All right, Emily, thank you. That's great stuff. And in the community, the Rangers very well aware of the impact they can have, and they are all very supportive of the community. Well, Mike Aviles draws the leadoff walk here in the fourth inning. A third straight inning now that the Tigers have put their leadoff man aboard. For Cole Hamels, his second walk of the night.
Yeah, Cole had to pitch out of a jam in the third inning, 2 straight singles with nobody out. Tigers have left 6 men on through 3 innings, so he's been in trouble working out of jams. Hoping for a double play grounder right here from Saltalamacchia.
By the dive of Beltran into left field, Avila is going to third. Here comes the throw from Profar that got it.
That's running yourself into an out.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Thought he was going to take advantage of Profar in left field, and Profar had a little surprise for him. A one-hop strike to third base. You don't want to be thrown out at third base with 2 outs or nobody out. That's a big play for the Rangers. After a leadoff walk and a rope to left field by Saltalamacchia, Aviles didn't catch anybody by surprise except himself.
Yeah, he was trying to decoy Profar going around second base, acting like I was going to pull up and then try to take advantage of the young left fielder. He said, no chance. On the money, the tag applied by Beltre, and that is a big out, number 1. Saltalamacchia at first now.
You know, there are times where you can catch an outfielder by surprise and maybe take the extra base. Aviles thought that was the opportunity. You've got a kid that hasn't played a lot of left field, but got a heads-up ball player out in left field. He knew what was going on. Nice try.
Probably had a better chance working with a guy who'd been out there a long time and kind of got used to guys stopping.
Exactly.
0-1 the count to Machado. Dixon Machado drew a walk back in the second.
He's thinking, what was that guy thinking? You think I've never played before?
Yeah. I can't believe he did that. That is out of play. It's 1-2.
Well, if you're Cole Hamels, that's an out that you didn't expect, and that's a nice little bonus for you.
Yeah, and so far Cole has been able to wiggle off the hook in 3 of the 4 innings. Tigers have had him on the ropes, and Cole's been able to make the pitch and get some plays behind him to prevent any damage. 2-2. What a gorgeous sunset to the west here of Globe Life Park. Beautiful evening, a little bit different than 24 hours ago. We were right in the middle of a 2-hour and 42-minute rain delay at this time last night. But tonight doesn't get much better than this. 90 degrees. Breeze coming out of the north, so it's fairly dry out here. Not a whole lot of humidity, and it's very comfortable at Globe Life Park.
This kid just won't offer it anything. Trying to get him to swing at that changeup, and so many hitters will swing at that changeup against Cole, but Dixon Machado, first at bat, behind in the count, worked a walk. Behind in the count, he's worked it to 3-2. And make Cole throw him a strike.
Payoff pitch. Call strike 3.
It took 1 too many.
Now Cole going up the ladder that time to the top of the strike zone. And Machado got straightened up, couldn't pull the trigger. Second strikeout for Hamels tonight.
Yeah, one of those top of the strike zone strikes. Fox Tracks shows that it is a strike. Machado might have thought it was a little bit too high.
So with Saltalamacchia still at first, 2 gone, Ian Kinsler for his 3rd at bat steps to the plate. Kinsler has struck out, tapped back to the mound. Ian with that average now at 291 for the year. Having another solid year as a leadoff man for the Tigers. Shallow right field, long run in for Chu, still coming. He can't get it, but he keeps it in front of him, and it gets away from him. Here comes Saltalamacchia coming down the line. The throw, he is out at the plate.
What an inning. Chu did everything he could to block that ball. Once he saw he couldn't catch it, kind of smothered it, picked it up, and threw a strike. The Rangers have thrown 2 guys out on the bases in the same inning.
They're going to hold it up for a second to see if Brad Ausmus wants to issue a challenge on this. Don Hallion, the home plate umpire, said he got him on the shoulder with the tag. And did he? Sure looks like it to me.
Looks like he did.
And they're not going to bother with the challenge. So the tag will stand. A great play from Chu into Lucroy. Tigers held off the board again. 2 hits, 1 left after 3.5. We are still scoreless. Best ways you can save out here at the ballpark. Find tickets, parking, and meal deals for just $10 each most Tuesday home games. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to secure your $10 Tuesday tickets for this Tuesday. Rangers take on the Oakland A's. Go to TexasRangers.com. Now the Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Still a scoreless game. Adrian Beltre looks at strike 1. Cole Hamels, living on the edge, has gotten some very good defense behind him. A couple of Tigers thrown out on the base paths last half inning. 1 at 3rd and 1 at home. Keep this ball game scoreless. Adrian had a solid base hit to left his first time to the plate. Big swing on that fastball and fouled it straight back. Adrian going to knock the dirt out of his cleats. Usually means he thought he should have hammered that pitch. Matt Boyd back to the plate. Still 1-2. Adrian Average continuing to climb, now up to 286. That's as high as his average has been since the first day or two of July. Right center field. J.D. Martinez angling in. One gone, and Carlos Beltran will be next.
Boyd has done a nice job so far in this game. 1 out into the 4th inning of making his pitch hit off the bad part of the bat. He was only hit a couple of balls hard. The double by Moreland, single by Beltre was hit hard into left field. It's a nice job so far by Matt Boyd.
First pitch to Beltran. Carlos takes that for strike 1. Beltran a fly ball to left that ended the Ranger first tonight. Carlos, a 3-game hitting streak going. He's gone 4 for 12. He's had hits in 7 straight starts as he takes outside. 4th in the American League in batting average against left-handed pitching, coming in .355 average. Boyd showing the ability to change speeds and have command of the strike zone no matter what he's throwing. This one skied to right center field. Kinsler going out, coming on. J.D. Martinez, 2 gone.
Second baseman, Rougned Odor.
Next will be Rougned Odor. Odor, a fly ball to Mike Aviles in center. And he goes after the first pitch, pulls it just outside the bag. It is 0-1. Rougned facing Matt Boyd. Boyd came over to the Tigers in the deal that sent David Price to Toronto. It was at the trading deadline of last year. Went 1-4, did Boyd, with the Tigers last year. Gets Odor to pop this up on the right side of the diamond. Cabrera, arms outstretched, makes the grab, and it's another 1-2-3 inning. Boyd now has retired 7 straight Rangers. We've gone through 4 innings of scoreless baseball in Globe Park. Rangers and Tigers, 0-0. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9. Meticulously crafted for driving because driving matters. Globe Life Park, beautiful setting tonight. A partly cloudy skies overhead, but a very comfortable evening as the Rangers and Tigers have gone through 4 scoreless innings. Tigers about hit the Rangers, though, 7-2. Cole Hamels is living on a razor's edge. Ranger defense has bailed him out a few times. He's made some very good pitches when he has had the need to. And Casey McGehee starting things off here in the 5th inning. McGehee started off the 3rd by singling to left field. Oh, 1 pitch to him. He's going to be 3 for 3. This is the 8th base hit for the Tigers against Hamels.
Casey McGee's trying to show people that he should have been in the big leagues this whole season. He was one of the best hitters in the International League. 37 doubles, .322 average. Done some nice things in the big leagues over his career as well. It took him a while to get back up here, but trying to cash in on the opportunity, it looks like. But it's getting interesting to see if Cole can keep pitching out of these jams. It's been one right after the other.
This is going to be interesting. This is the 3rd time now that Cabrera has come up with somebody on base. And that is not generally a formula for having success against the Tigers. If you're able to keep people off base in front of Cabrera, then you might have a chance. But you keep living dangerously like this, normally it's going to catch up with you. In Cole Hamels' case, he has the ability to make that not true, but you hate to tempt fate that often. Cabrera, last time up, smashed a single off the glove of Beltre at 3rd. 1 out of 2 tonight. There's a base hit to right center field. That is up the alley. McGehee around 2nd will motor into 3rd. Runners at the corners, nobody out here in the 5th inning.
Cole's trying everything he's got out there, and the Tigers have just given him a rough time so far tonight.
That was a cutter that got intercepted before it got off the plate. No, Cabrera's 2nd hit. 9 hits now for Detroit. Victor Martinez, the hitter. The Rangers will play the middle of the infield at double play depth, maybe a step in closer. Softly hit ball. They still might have a shot at McGehee at the plate if they deem that necessary. Changeup floats wide. It's 1-0 to Victor Martinez. Martinez has grounded to 2nd and fly to fairly shallow right field. Average for Martinez right at 300. 2-0. Cole with 68 pitches tonight as he works in the 5th inning. Victor Martinez above the major league average 59% of the time he's been able to score that runner from 3rd with less than 2 out. That'll get it down, a base hit up the middle. McGehee scores, stopping at 2nd. Cabrera. The Tigers take a 1-0 lead here in the 5th inning.
That's a combination of taking some good swings and finding a lot of holes. Occasionally you like to see one of those ground balls go right at somebody, but so far in this game, most of them are finding holes. Took 2 throws from the outfield on base hits to get runners trying to advance in the last inning to get out of it. A couple of bloopers fell in. Most of the ground balls are falling in. Sooner or later, one's going to be hit right at somebody and get a double play.
Yeah, you just hope it's this game.
Yeah.
Believe me, if you're standing out on the mound like Cole Hamels, you're wondering if it's going to be this game. No, 3 consecutive singles open up the 5th inning. A run across, 1st and 2nd for J.D. Martinez, who has singled and grounded into a fielder's choice. At the knees for strike 1. J.D. Martinez now a 4-game hitting streak. has gone 6 for 15 in those 4 contests. Oh, and 2. This ball game tonight in stark contrast to the game that Cole dialed up in May up at Comerica Park. That may have been the best game that he threw all year long. He shut out the Tigers for 7 innings on just 1 hit, walked 2 and struck out 9. And well, you could probably count on one hand the number of hard hit balls in that game even. He was just masterful that night. Out there now trying to recapture a little bit of that magic. See if he can keep this at a 1-0 deficit. A ball and 2 strikes. Did not go. 2 and 2. And again, Jonathan Lucroy doing a very good job of blocking that ball, keeping it right near home plate. J.D. Martinez, his last 23 ball games, has been a .424 hitter. One of the Tigers that has been extremely hot. He can't stop his swing that time. He goes around, and there is a big strikeout for Hamels, his 3rd of the night. But with runners at 1st and 2nd, nobody out, that is one of the best times to get a punch out.
Outfielder Justin Upton.
Probably not exactly where he was trying to throw that cutter, but it certainly worked pretty well for him.
Now Justin Upton for his 3rd at bat. Upton has flied out both times that he's faced Hamels tonight. Now we'll take a look at some analytics for you from MLB. The stat of the day: how about the lowest percentage of pitches in the strike zone? And this is, it's interesting to think about this. Cole Hamels only throws 43.8% of his pitches in the strike zone. So by inference, you would say, well, how does he get all his outs? Well, he gets the outs because the pitches look like to the hitter it's going to be in the strike zone. He gets people to chase. He does a good job of setting them up. And on the other side of the coin, when players do swing at his pitches, they miss 28.6% of the time. That's the 7th highest average in Major League Baseball.
That kind of goes right along with what you're saying, Buzz. They swing at a lot of pitches out of the strike zone, which makes them a lot harder to hit.
Right. Cabrera will be stopped at 3rd. Profar up with the ball quickly. Upton with his 1st hit of the night. The bases are now loaded for Mike Aviles.
Center fielder Mike Aviles.
And if you're in that part of the strike zone, I think the swing percentage, the contact percentage is a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's not what they're talking about when you're talking about the swing and miss rate, not those pitches.
No.
11 hits, but only 1 run. Just a double play away of leaving with 1 run after 5 innings, which you'll certainly take under any circumstances. Certainly with 11 hits, you would take it.
And a possibility here. Beltre, Odor, back to normal. Good call, Tom. Just exactly what you needed. So Cole Hamels playing Houdini tonight. 1 run on 4 hits and 2 left for the Tigers. We have played half the ball game tonight. It's the Tigers 1 and the Rangers 0. Texas Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Night coming up this Wednesday. Your Rangers take on the Oakland A's here at Globe Life Park. Head on out to the ballpark early. Enjoy some of those hot dogs. Enjoy all the hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Well, Rangers playing from behind now as Jonathan Lucroy leads off the Ranger fifth. 1-0 Detroit. And Lucroy drives one to left, and it's hanging up for Justin Upton, shy of the warning track. One gone. Well, one away. Mitch Moreland will be next. But first of all, we're going to send it over to Rick Renner for a Chevy game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Now, Mitch Moreland, who doubled into the corner in right field, his first time, takes strike one. Mitch hit a low line drive that is shot by J.D. Martinez into that corner. Hanging breaking ball. Another foot toward the plate. That would have been very enticing. Mitch let it pass by. 1 ball and 1 strike. Moreland now has hit in each of his last 3 ball games. 1-2. We mentioned Mitch at 20 home runs this year. This is his 3rd season now with 20 or more home runs. Of course, last year and 2013 both produced 23 home runs. And facing Matt Boyd are Kubota power stats, considering the left-hander tonight. 0-3 with that .763 against the Rangers in the 3 previous matchups. Tonight, he has allowed them very little, just 2 hits in 4 1/3 and no runs. Sharply hit line drive that Kinsler picks right off the grass top. 2 gone.
Left fielder Jurickson Profar.
So bases empty for Jurickson Profar. First time Profar came up, he swung at the first pitch that he saw from Matt Boyd and popped out. Takes a strike, 0-1. Profar has reached in 4 straight games now, either by a hit or a walk. Gone 5 for 17 with a couple of walks in that span. One pitch from Boyd. And the left-hander into the wind. And the pitch is on the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Profar, as you know, the switch hitter, average at .232 from the right side. That's as compared to .305 as a left-handed hitter. Pop foul. We'll try it again. Let's show you right here the AT&T high-speed internet replay. Big play early in the ball game. Trying to go around to third. Avigos got thrown out. And then, how about Shin-Soo Choo? With Saltalamacchia trying to score from first on that double. Choo guns him down at the plate. Those 2 plays, couple of the reasons why the Tigers have just 1 run and 11 hits.
Choo did a great job of bringing his hands up and smothering that ball and knocking it down. If it came right to him, Saltalamacchia wouldn't have tried to score. But when it rolled away, he tried to score, and Choo picked it up and threw him out.
A skimmer into the glove of Miguel Cabrera, and that'll do it. 10 straight now set down by Matt Boyd and the Tigers. Rangers out of the 5th. After 5, Tigers 1, Rangers nothing. To the ballpark. The first 15,000 fans of the game on Saturday, August 27th, will receive an Elvis Landrews Calrissian Star Wars bobblehead. That's courtesy of Takis. You don't have to smuggle your way across the galaxy in order to pick up one of the coolest bobbleheads of the year. Purchase your tickets today at TexasRangers.com. See the Rangers take on the Indians and to take home this special collectible. Well, Cole Hamels in search of a quick and easy 1-2-3 inning. He has not had one of those tonight. Dealing to Jared Saltalamacchia, the number 8 hitter, starting off this 6th inning. 1-0 Detroit lead. Saltalamacchia 1 out of 2. That's right off the cup into that bat. Ball going right. Part of the bat going left. Explosion. That must have been a cutter. Came in there and cut the top right out there.
Yeah, hopefully Cole's gone through the bad part of this game with everything they hit falling in, and maybe next few innings everything they hit's going to go right at somebody and kind of turn it around.
Well, there's a start. Lazy fly ball out to Ian Desmond.
Get that leadoff hitter.
And that's the first time that's happened since the first inning. Well, a good way to begin things here in the 6th. Dixon Machado is next. Well, despite all the traffic on the base paths, Cole only at 82 pitches, which is, considering you've given up 11 hits, not too bad.
Double play and 2 guys thrown out on the bases.
Machado has walked and been called out on strikes. Nothing in 1 the count. Hamels back to him. And that's line foul to the right side. I mentioned that Machado doesn't have a lot of power, but he does bring speed to the Tigers lineup. 17 stolen bases this year at AAA. That was 6th most in the International League. Just out of the reach of Odor. Well, he made a great break back and made a last-second leap and just came up a little bit short of it.
At least the 3rd bloop that's fallen in.
About another foot.
Well, 1 on, 1 out. Back to the top of the order once again, and Ian Kinsler up for his 4th plate appearance. Kinsler blooped a double into right back in the 4th inning. That was when Shin-Soo Choo made that nice throw to the plate to get Saltalamacchia.
Kinsler had that bloop down the right field line. The one that Machado just hit. Probably the best bloop, if you like bloopers, was one Casey McGee lobbed over Beltre's head at third base. That's at least 3 of them.
Cabrera had one in the and he blooped that one in. No, I think it's J.D. Martinez. I'm sorry. No, Cole Hamels trying to keep a close eye on Machado at first. Mentioned the speed. That's well noted by the Rangers in their scouting reports. Well, Cole, in an effort to keep Machado fairly close and also give Jonathan Lucroy an opportunity to throw him out if Machado takes off for second. Cole giving a varied look with each move to Machado. Lucroy going out about 37% of attempted stolen bases this year. He's caught 30, which is the most in baseball. Kinsler to left center field, long run. Desmond on the run, makes the catch. He gets the ball back in quickly.
He had to go a long way for that ball. I don't think Ian hit it right off the barrel of the bat. It was headed in the gap, but it hung up just long enough for Ian to utilize his speed and run it down. Didn't look like off the bat he was going to be able to do it. But he hit it a little bit off the end of the bat. It hung just enough. And in the gap, he runs it down.
A good jump, and nothing like having that closing speed that Desmond has. Oh, nice play by the Rangers center fielder. 2 outs, and Casey McGee, who is 3 for 3, will step in. McGee, all 3 singles to the left side. He has scored the only run of the ball game. That was after leading off the 5th inning with a single to left. McGee, who signed a minor league contract with the Tigers back in February. Shoots one to right. That is going to be trouble. It's into the corner. Machado with good speed, smoking it to third, and he is going to score. Odor tosses the ball into Elvis Andrus. So McGee, an opposite field double, his 4th hit of the night. And the Tigers lead at 2-0.
And the only chance they had, because of Machado's solid speed, was for that ball to kick off the wall right straight to Choo, get it in quickly, and hold Machado at third. But once that ball's stuck in the corner, there's nothing they could do. Pitch right down the middle of the plate, and McGee jumps all over it. 4 hits in 6 innings.
The ball kind of dying there at the bottom of the padding, and that allowed Machado the extra that he really didn't need. He was going to score anyway. So McGee with his 4th hit of the night. That's his first Tiger RBI of the year. He is in scoring position, and Miguel Cabrera, who is 2 for 3. Takes low. That gets away from Lucroy, and that's going to allow McGee to advance 90 feet. A wild pitch puts McGee at third base now with 2 out. One of those breaking balls that just hopped straight up in the air and over Lucroy's shoulder. Now they're going to intentionally walk Miguel Cabrera and deal with Victor Martinez.
I'm going to walk a 300 hitter. Unfortunately, you have to pitch to a 300 hitter. But under the circumstances, if you had your choice, then it's an easy choice to make. Nobody wants to pitch to Cabrera if you don't have to.
First intentional walk of the game, third walk overall.
Victor Martinez.
Doug Bocale going to put a call into the bullpen and get some action going down there.
Yeah, into the 6th inning, every Tiger hitter has at least one hit in the ball game.
13 of them overall. Victor Martinez had the RBI single in the 5th inning that drove home the first run. He's got runners at the corners. Ball 1 is high. Yoni Kellen starting to loosen in that Ranger bullpen. Victor Martinez, the 2nd highest average on the road this year in the American League. Came into the game hitting at .330 away from Comerica Park. And he has the count in his favor here in the 6th inning. 2 balls, no strikes. And McGee down there at 3rd. Cabrera over at 1st. 2-1. Martinez grounded out in the 1st, flied out in the 3rd. His single last time up went to center field. Got him on the fist, rolled out to Elvis. Takes his time, throws out Martinez, and that'll do it. But Tigers get another run. They get a run on 2 hits and strand 2. After 5.5, now Detroit 2 and the Rangers nothing. The Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $700 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Nancy Gerguise from Colleyville is going to win $700. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Nancy is going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Nancy, I apologize if I mangled your last name, but the spelling will be correct on the check. Elvis leading things off against Matt Boyd. Boyd has been more than a handful for the Rangers tonight. His 2 base hits off the left-hander in 5 innings, and he has retired 10 straight. Elvis grounding out to his counterpart, Dixon Machado at short, his first time up. One pitch. That is out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Elvis having a conversation with himself, trying to browbeat himself into making a better swing.
Well, the Rangers are hoping to get a man on and maybe go back to the home run ball they used last night.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. You throw 2 pitches, a base hit and a home run, and all of a sudden it's 2-2 after the Tigers hit 13 base hits in 6 innings.
Pop up long run for Kinsler, and he can't come up with it, right behind Cabrera. Ball slicing back toward the line from foul territory, and Kinsler couldn't get there in time. Neither could anybody else. No, still 1-2. Elvis with that .291 average, leading off the Rangers' 6th inning. This one playable. J.D. Martinez retreating. 1 gone.
Right fielder, Shin-Soo Choo.
Just looking a little perplexed and a little pained after that out. Checking the big board up there to see exactly what the video will tell him about that at bat. I'll tell him one thing, he won't like the ending. No, Shin-Soo Choo up for the 3rd time. Inning by inning pitch count for Matt Boyd. Very consistent.
The Rangers have only made 3 outs on ground balls. A lot of balls in the air, but not a lot of balls in the air that have really been hit hard. Most of them have been lazy line drives and fly balls.
Another breaking ball to Choo, and they both hung inside.
Choo was perfectly willing to take that one in the side, but broke a little bit too much and it missed him.
Saltalamacchia out to have a chat with his southpaw, Matt Boyd. Boyd getting into a part of the game that the Tigers haven't seen him reach all that often. Hasn't been able to go more than 5 innings in a big league game in the last month. Now the 3-0 pitch. Choo with 1 out trying to get aboard here in the 6th inning. Ian Desmond is waiting in that on-deck circle. Ball 4. Missed low, and Choo draws the walk. First hitter in the last 11 that has reached base. So 1 on, 1 out. Ian Desmond coming up. We're going to check in with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, even though the Rangers have been getting wins, they've been having to come from behind a lot of those wins, and they're always looking for ways to improve even during a winning streak or a stretch of winning baseball. And among those, the defensive part of the game. And Ian Desmond says that is definitely something that they continue to work on.
When you're taking the field and you're expecting the ball, then, you know, it becomes a lot easier to make the play. But when, you know, the other team's grinding out at bats and, you know, you're out there for a while, the momentum, you know, starts to slow down, and, you know, it's really hard to, you know, keep your mind engaged in every single pitch. Not to say you ever take a pitch off, but you're just not as sharp as what you'd like. So I think when, like, you know, when we start playing, you know, on all cylinders, you know, it's going to make the rest of our game better.
The defense obviously engaged tonight, 13 hits and just 2 runs to show for it for the Tigers. Hopefully the Rangers can scratch out a couple runs here to help Cole Hamels' cause out, guys.
Thank you, Em. Well, Ian Desmond up there with representing the tying run in this ball game. A walk and now a chance to do some damage with just 1 swing of the bat. Ian 0 for 2. And down on the count, 0-2. Go back to the top of the inning. Ian was talking about defense, and he had a very nice play running into the gap. A ball off the bat of Ian Kinsler. Tracking that down, a big play. Pull the Rangers defensively. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Confirmed by Brian Knight down there at first. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Boyd peering in for the sign, picks out 1 from Saltalamacchia. Back to Boyd. To second, Kinsler turning over, but not in time to get Desmond on the back end. Boyd just took too long to get it to second.
Third baseman,
The force removes Chu. And with 2 outs now, Adrian Beltre will come up.
Still have the tying run at the plate. Rangers unable to put a rally together. Again, let's try the home run ball. Don't need a rally to get 2 runs with a home run ball. And Adrian's been pretty hot lately. He's already had a base hit in this game.
First pitch in at the knees for strike 1. And Beltre, a first inning single, last time up, skied to right field. Adrian's hitting streak now extended to 7 straight ball games. Boyd to the plate. Beltre pops it up. That's going to work its way back over the Ranger dugout into the 3rd row.
Boyd's had enough fastball today, 91 to 93, to go along with that slider he's throwing. And he's really kept the Rangers from timing anything, getting in any kind of a groove. Been a little bit late on his fastball, a little bit out in front of that slider. A lot of them have been out of the strike zone. Well, he's on his way to pitching his best ball game.
0-2 to Beltre. Desmond a modest lead at first. And Adrian reaches out, pops it up. Kinsler for the catch and the out. That'll do it. Rangers get a walk, but Strender runner will go to the 7th inning at Globe Life Park tonight with the Tigers leading the Rangers 2-0 on Fox Sports Southwest. Tonight's board-game summary. It's lopsided toward the Tigers. Victor Martinez, the Tigers on the board in the 5th inning, an RBI single to center field. Then Casey McGee going the other way in the 6th inning. Drove home Dixon Machado with the 2nd run. Casey McGee a 4-for-4 night, and that's where we stand. 2-0 Detroit as the Tigers come to bat here in the 7th inning. Cole Hamels back out to the hill, and the youngsters are playing in the aisles at Globe Life Park. J.D. Martinez starting off the 7th, and he takes the slow curve in from Hamels. 0-1. Martinez has struck out, grounded out in single tonight. 2 runs on 13 hits for the Tigers. They have stranded 11. Rangers no runs on 2 hits. They have stranded 3. That's exactly how many base runners they've had tonight. 3. Hamels with his 99th pitch of the night.
And one thing Cole's been able to do over his last 10 starts is keep the ball in the ballpark. He's only given up 3 home runs in his last 10 starts, 63 innings. His first 13 starts, he gave up 15 home runs. A little bit home run prone earlier, first half of the year. Second half of the year, not nearly as much, only 3 in his last 10 starts. Well, the Tigers just have not offered at many pitches out of the strike zone. We mentioned that analytic item earlier in the ball game, how he throws a large percentage of his pitches out of the strike zone and gets the hitters to swing at a number of them. Tonight, the Tigers have been able to lay off that pitch for the most part, and it's worked to their advantage.
Yeah, J.D. Martinez caught window shopping at that high inside fastball that came back to the corner. Hamels gets his 4th strikeout.
Yeah, he didn't like the call. Well, that ball was right on the upper part of the plate, right on the corner, according to Fox Tracks.
That's one of those areas where you've said that hitters wouldn't be particularly thrilled to have that call to strike.
They don't like it, but hey, facts are facts.
Yeah. So 1 gone. Here's Justin Upton, who has a single and 3 trips. Upton may not fit into that category you just were talking about patient hitters.
Is he patient?
Yeah.
He's up there swinging.
Able to do some damage most of the time. He's had a lot of high home run years. 0-1 pitch to him. That's in at the knees. Hamels taking something off, getting the changeup over. Upton with the average at 233 as Hamels comes back to the plate. Cole, the 32-year-old from San Diego, just finished up his first full year with the Rangers. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off the fists and out of play. Hamels 19-4 in his first year plus with the Rangers. 35 starts that encompasses, going back to the 31st of July of 2015. Just missed inside. 2-2. Now the left-hander back to the plate. Got him swinging. Able to pull the string, and Upton down on strikes. Back-to-back punch-outs. 5 this evening for Hamels.
Center fielder Mike Aviles.
It's such an unusual game for Cole to have as many base runners. He's had 3 walks and 13 hits in the game. and only 2 runs. So that's the bottom line. Got a chance to get this out, pitch 7 innings, and give up 2 runs, and you'll take that every time.
Not out there pitching for style points.
No, you're not.
It's that run category that's the most important. 1-0 pitch to Aviles. It's out of play to the right. Hamels inning by inning. Really just that second inning when he had the bases loaded and got out with a tapper back to the mound by Kinsler. That's the only real high pitch count inning he's had. Coming on Profar, he'll have to play that on a hop, and Aviles has his second hit of the night. Well, that prevents Cole from having his first 1-2-3 inning. Aviles aboard with 2 outs. Jared Saltalamacchia will come up. Saltalamacchia has singled in 3 trips. Ooh, they had him picked and they got it. Mike Aviles standing there flat-footed, completely misread Cole Hamels' move. And Hamels picked him, and they're going to hold up the proceedings here to maybe go to the replay. Brad Ausmus say, now hang on a second, and the tag right there.
You could see Aviles' eyes. His eyes went back toward home plate like he was looking for the pitch, and then sensed it was coming to first base and tried to dive back in.
After seeing that replay, I'm not really sure that this one's going to stand up under scrutiny. So Brad Ausmus has told Tom Hallion that he'd like for them to take a look at it, at least send it back to Replay Command Center and get their opinion. Brian Knight, the first base umpire, will join Tom Hallion with the headsets on. They'll get hooked up to Replay Command back in New York and decide whether, having looked at all of the video evidence, whether there's clear and convincing evidence to overturn this call. One more time with that. Tag slapped down just as the hand was getting to the bag. And I think Aviles might have gotten that hand in there just before the tag was applied. At least from this angle, it looked more like it. Hands there, the tag on. We'll see what they say in New York. Ford bringing you this Tigers Challenge. Brad Ausmus getting the information from his video review people upstairs. He requested that the umpires take a look at it.
And another note, Cole has given up the 14 hits. That's the most he's ever given up. 12 was the most coming into this game.
And Cole going back out to the mound, so apparently he has gotten word from the Ranger dugout that he probably is not going to stand up. The safe call. He got him. He is out. Oh, that call is going to stand, apparently, at first. Thank you very much. Cole Hamels off the mound. The call does stand. So we will take the stretch. 2-1 or 2-0 Detroit. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
And now in honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, we invite everyone in Globe Life Park to join in singing God Bless America.
the greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, you remember David Dahl with the Colorado Rockies tied that streak, 17 consecutive games in which he hit safely. Tied the longest streak to start a career. That came to an end last night. Meanwhile, Tyler Austin and Aaron Judge this afternoon, first teammates in Major League history to hit back-to-back home runs in their first career at-bats. Yankees beat the Rays 8-4 this afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Well, Rangers find themselves down by a couple as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Carlos Beltran, Rougned Odor, and Jonathan Lucroy, the first 3 Rangers to do the swinging against Matt Boyd. It's out of play off Beltran's bat. Carlos has flied to left, flied to right. Tyler Collins has entered the ballgame to take over in center field now. He replaces Mike Aviles. The 1-1 pitch. Slowly to third, right at the bag. It's a foul ball. Well, Beltran will have to reverse course, come back to home plate. Just kicking that last bounce, kicked it into foul territory. Casey McGee, a journeyman third baseman. He makes all the plays. He has been more than a journeyman tonight. McGee has had 4 hits 4 times to the plate. He has scored 1 run. He has driven in the other. Now the 1-2 pitch. Matthew Boyd tonight, only 85 pitches to this point. So 59 strikes, 26 balls. Popped up, that'll reach the seats behind home plate. Rangers captain.
With a bug trick again.
He's going to have to start carrying a defibrillator around with him. Somebody's going to have their heart stopped.
Different reaction. Some people are shocked, and some people just look at it like they know what it is the second they see it.
Swinging strike 3, and Beltran is gone. That's how the 7th inning gets underway. Boyd with just his 2nd strikeout of the night. The 1 gone. Rougned Odor coming up. We're going to send it back over to Rick Renner for a Chevy game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Odor bluffing a bunt. That had McGee charging in from his position at third. 0-1 to Rougned, who has flied to center and popped to first. Now 0-2. Well, you mentioned, Tom, not many balls hit off the good part of the bat by the Rangers, and really not a lot of good swings tonight consistently against Boyd.
No, he's done a masterful job of mixing up his pitches and keeping the Rangers from developing any sense of timing against him on any kind of consistent basis.
Not really dissimilar from what Dallas Keuchel did to them down in Houston a little over a week ago. Shut the Rangers out. 3-hit complete game shutout.
In this game, he struck out 2, which is less of a rate that he's had throughout the course of the season. 50 strikeouts in 55 innings coming into the game. The Rangers haven't struck out that much, but as we've said a couple of times, they haven't hit that many balls hard either.
Last Ranger to reach by a base hit was Mitch Moreland in a 2nd inning double. One ball and 2 strikes to Odor. Shot that fastball foul. Still 1-2. Rangers moving up the ranks offensively in the American League. They came in 4th in the American League and average at 265. Tied for 3rd in runs scored. And Odor down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts. 3 on the evening for Matt Boyd. 2 gone.
That's been a good pitch for him tonight. It's a hard slider. Doesn't really have that sweeping action to it, but he keeps it out of the strike zone, yet at the same time tempts the hitter to swing at it.
No bases empty now for Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy a strikeout, a fly ball to fairly deep left field. Boyd back to the plate. 2-0.
He's mixed in a pretty good changeup to go along with it too.
And ball 3 is inside. So Lucroy trying to get aboard if he's able to get reach with 2 outs here in the 7th. Mitch Moreland would come to the plate as the tying run. 3-0 pitch. Ball 4. Lucroy draws the 2-out walk. Brad Ausmus checking his charts. Get a little action going, most likely in the Tiger bullpen. Ryan and Wilson. Wilson, the right-hander, loosening in support of Matt Boyd. Well, here's Mitch, who has doubled and lined to second. Hit the ball hard a couple of times off Boyd. Get one elevated here, we'd have a brand new ball game. Oh, and 1. Moreland this year, 5 home runs off of left-handed pitching to this juncture. That matches his total from all of last year. Two strikes. Boyd sets. And a one-hopper right to Cabrera at first. That'll do it. The walker, Lucroy left stranded. Rangers have now 3 aboard. We'll go to the 8th inning. 2-0 Detroit on Fox Sports Southwest.
fan of the game. We have to give it to Diane because back in the 6th inning, foul ball was coming to the right field stands. And what happened, Diane? What happened?
Came right toward me. I put up my arm to stop it, and it hit my arm and fell in my lap.
Let's see that arm. Look at the shot here, guys. Took it right there. But the most important thing, where's the baseball?
Right here.
Congratulations. Here you go, Diane. Here's also the bag. You know, it's not the baseball, but the bag. You get the bag?
I'll give you back the bag. I want postseason tickets.
Postseason ticket. We'll see what we can do. All right. Now, we understand she's a longtime season ticket holder. And, Tom, she worked in the accounting department for the Rangers when you were a player.
In the old stadium.
Wow. How much were the players making back then?
Less than they do now.
Oh, I got good one. Okay, there we go. All right, appreciate it. It's kind of interesting, Buzz. She said that the players usually came into the office back in those days, I guess for the paychecks?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of unique. You don't see that happening anymore.
Imagine not.
Okay, there we go. All right, appreciate it. Congrats. Oh, here's your bag. We'll work on the postseason tickets. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Knoxley. Keone Kellett has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over in the 8th inning.
I don't remember that Diane was that good a ball player back then, making a catch like that. Yeah, we made a lot less than the players make today. In fact, we made less in a week, in a year, than the players today on a minimum salary making a week. Making a week.
Is that about what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
40,000 times 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
We made less than a year. We made about the same thing in a year that they make in 4 days.
When they're on a minimum salary.
Yeah, when they're making the minimum salary. I couldn't even compute the small fraction it would be of an average
No,
salary.
it's just a bunch more zeros.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. These guys don't have to worry about getting a job in the off season. Let's put it that way.
Not really.
Like
no.
we did.
No.
Boy, those were the good old days, Buzz.
Yeah, they were. Stay off my lawn.
Used to walk to work, pack my own lunch.
Yeah, Keone Kellett appearing for the 20th time this year. Last saw Keone first game against the Rockies here. Gave up a couple of runs in that game to Colorado. And working to Saltalamacchia, that will run the count full now. Saltalamacchia leading off the 8th inning. He'll be followed by the shortstop, Dixon Machado. Well, Cole Hamels tonight, 7 innings worked, 14 hits, and just 2 runs. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. The appeal down to Adam Hamari at third, and Saltalamacchia draws the leadoff walk.
Shortstop Dixon Machado.
Close.
The base on balls not been a huge problem for Keone, but it seems like the leadoff men getting the walks is what has been the problem. And Machado trying to bunt, and bunts it foul back behind home plate.
I just did some quick math, Buzz, and I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. The players today on the minimum salary, a rookie, makes the same amount of money in 4 days that we made in an entire season when we first started playing on a minimum salary. Minimum salary back then was $10,000 a year. And the minimum salary today is right around $500,000 a year. The difference is now you play a few years and you can make $3 or $4 million. Back then we had to play for a long time before we could get any more than $10,000. Oh, you're going to give me a raise? Yeah, $11,500. Whoa,
right.
Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, that was big stuff.
Yeah, there was no free agency and no salary arbitration back then. You could argue all you want, but basically if you wanted to play, you took what they gave you. Occasionally guys would go on a salary strike, I guess you'd like to say. Frank Howard, I can remember Frank out in the picnic table in Pompano Beach while everyone was working out, holding out maybe the first 4 or 5 days of spring training, but always back within a week. Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax had a holdout 1 year, kind of a holdout together, but they were back before long.
Yeah, that was the big thing. I remember growing up because I was in high school when that happened.
Yeah.
Well, that was big news. Koufax was holding out for $125,000 and Drysdale for $100,000.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, that, I'm going to say it was 65 or 66. Yeah. Could have been before Koufax's last year, which was 66. Yeah, things have changed a little bit.
Now they've changed for the owners too. The owners are making a lot more money now than they were back then too.
That's right. And you would not have seen ballparks like this in your dreams.
No. Fortunately, the players, when they go to Boston and go to Chicago for Wrigley Field, they can see what the clubhouses looked like back in the old days, because the visiting clubhouses in Boston and at Wrigley Field, Fenway Park and Wrigley Field, are pretty much the same as they were 50 years ago.
Yeah, they certainly aren't any more spacious.
No. One thing that they'll never understand is what the minor league parks look like back then. Today, the minor league parks are basically miniature major league parks. The clubhouses are a little smaller. The stands don't fit 40 or 50,000 people, but they're beautiful fields. I couldn't even describe some of the clubhouses we used to have. That picture there, I wouldn't have known what that was if I saw that picture when I was in the minor leagues. It looks like a baseball field, but I don't know what that is around it.
Could have been a spaceship.
In Salisbury, North Carolina, we had a cement floor. That was a good pitch by Kenny. We didn't have a trainer. We had a manager and a playing coach and no trainer, no clubhouse assistant. In the clubhouse was a Coke machine that you could put money in and get a Coke, and that was it. No food. Had a water fountain that had lukewarm water. had to wash your own clothes. Boy, those uniforms on the road, those uniforms didn't look too good after 4 or 5 days, boy. Ball went if you're playing the outfield, the ball went too high, you had to hope that you were underneath it, because you kind of lose track of it when it went up in the black sky, and then when it came back down, you could kind of pick it up again.
Went up above the light poles.
Yeah. Slide into the bases, they might fall, they might come right off the hinge and end up off the base. Batter's box, 2 big holes. Hope that your foot fit in them. I'm sure the mounds were the same way for pitchers.
Pretty much,
then too.
Yeah.
If you didn't like the hole, nothing you could do about it, because they didn't have anybody that could come out and fix it.
Well, Lord help you if you pitch the second game of a doubleheader. That thing would get lost in that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, times have changed a little bit.
Groundskeepers was maybe one guy and an assistant. If they mowed the grass, you were lucky. And that's not an exaggeration.
No,
that's probably making it sound better than it really was.
Well, I can remember guys in the California League after I first signed. Infielders would come out an hour before batting practice and pick up all the rocks from the infield.
Yeah.
Just so they wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah. Bobby Jones did that in Geneva, New York, playing on the 10 o'clock Scholars. We had so many guys, all of them couldn't suit up for the game at night. They came out and worked out in the morning.
Winsler. I think he had a brain cramp and that thing was coming to home plate. He went after it and, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. 2 out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kellett. And Casey McGee will come up. Watch that look on his face. You gotta be kidding me. Now here's McGee, who is 4 for 4 tonight. 3 singles, a double. He has scored a run. He has driven in a run. Saltamaki at first. And the leadoff walk, then back-to-back strikeouts. Now McGee. To right field, Chu retreating. He will stop right on the edge of the warning track, and that'll do it. Kellett gets McGee out for the first time tonight. The Tigers strand another runner. We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. It remains the Tigers 2, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest.
Heroics trailing the Tigers 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 8th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This is the second of 3 between these two teams. We will close things out tomorrow in an afternoon game here at the Globe. 2 o'clock first pitch here at the ballpark. Coverage starts at 1:30 with the pregame show. There you see a couple of the big hitters headed into tomorrow's game. Ian Kinsler and Jonathan Lucroy with his 6 home runs, which are tied for the most in the month of August in Major League Baseball. A big thanks to the fine folks at AT&T High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for the finale between the Tigers and the Rangers mañana, guys.
All right, Em, thank you. Well, we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers trailing by a couple. And Shane Green, right-hander, coming out of the bullpen to take over. Jurickson Profar will lead things off. He'll be followed by Elvis Andrus and then Shin-Soo Choo. So Shane Green in his 33rd game of the year. He is 2-2. ERA up there at 4.14. League, though, just hitting .211 against the right-hander. And he falls behind very quickly. 2 balls and no strikes. Green came over to the Tigers from the Yankees, part of a 3-team deal back in 2014. 2-1.
Yeah, what a 2-0 cutter it looked like.
Yep.
And he's kept the ball in the ballpark 41 innings and only 1 home run.
Green converting from a starter to the bullpen. Tigers still haven't given up on him entirely as being a starter. They like his stuff in a starting role. He's falling behind Profar now as he a couple of legs right down underneath Jurickson.
You have to credit Matt Boyd with one of the better pitched games against the Rangers this year. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Did an excellent job.
The 3-1 pitch. Lost him up high, ball 4. Profar aboard. So the Rangers have another comeback.
The shortstop, Elvis.
You mentioned Matt Boyd. Todd, tonight he was outstanding. Profar making a fine defensive play. That was one of the things that kept the Rangers in the ball game. And Profar made a great throw, and Shin-Soo Choo made a great throw. Otherwise, Boyd and the Tigers would have had much more than a 2-0 lead.
They got a couple of guys thrown out on the bases, and then a bases-loaded double play to get out of the inning as well. So Cole was on the ropes with 14 hits, but credit him with doing a Houdini act, pitching out of jams for 7 innings and only giving up 2 runs.
Well, here's Elvis. Green missing outside. 1 ball, no strikes. This crowd of almost 38,000 tonight at Globe Life Park. They've been itching for 7 innings to have something to cheer about. And with a leadoff walk now, they believe that these Rangers are starting to mount one of their patented late inning comebacks. Elvis 0 for 2 tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis a ground ball to short, a fly ball to right this evening. Infield plays Andrus a step around to the right side. Don't expect him to try and pull Shane Green. Profar at first. And ball 2. Elvis 1 for 3 in his career against Shane Green. If you go look at the Tiger defense, Kinsler favoring the hole on the right side. Shortstop Machado a couple of steps toward the bag, and both of them up a double play deck. There goes Profar. Pitch is swung on and fouled away. Rangers had the hit and run going.
He threw a pitch up and in out of the strike zone that was a tough pitch for Elvis. Got a hole between first and second, but pretty much impossible to hit that pitch over there. 96 miles an hour, 8 inches inside and up.
You You hit that pitch the other way.
Good luck.
You're in the wrong league. Oh, 2-2 now. Profar back to first. Green, a letter high set. Got him swinging. Pulled the string. And Elvis, wave and a miss. One gone. Shin-Soo Choo. Let's go back to what Matt Boyd was able to do tonight. A lot of pitches in on the fist. The breaking balls complementing the pitches inside. And as you mentioned, Tom, not a lot of balls off the barrel of Ranger bats.
No, he had a good slider, and he threw a fastball in 92, 93 miles an hour, and a good changeup. So he had a nice assortment of pitches tonight with good command.
Choo takes strike one from Green. Shin-Soo reached on a walk in the 6th inning. That was one of 2 walks that Matt Boyd issued tonight. Other than that, Choo grounded out twice. With Choo up there, the Tiger defense now shifting further around to the right. Casey McGee, the third baseman, a good 30 feet, 35 feet off that third base line. Sky to left field. Upton. Profar bluffing a move towards second, but he'll return to the bag. That's out number 2, and it brings up Ian Desmond.
The center fielder, Ian Desmond.
But Green, after the leadoff walk, has struck out Andrus and gotten Choo on a fly ball. Now Desmond, who is 0 for 3 tonight, will step in. Green will look over his left shoulder at Profar at first base. 1 ball, no strikes. And this year, when the Rangers have trailed after 7 innings, they have gone 3-14 here at home. It's a pretty good mark.
Sounds bad, but it's actually good.
Yeah. It's fouled away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Overall, home and away this year, they have gone 9-37, which is really good. After 7 innings, trailing after 7. Sam Dyson, the Ranger bullpen. One and 1 to Desmond. Now 2 and 1. I'd like to see him hang one of those sliders to Ian right about now. Very intense look on Shane Gray's face. He looks in for the sign. In for a strike. 2 and 2. Bottom of the 8th, 1 on and 2 out. Tapper, Green spears it, throws and gets Desmond. So Shane Green gets around walking the leadoff man. Profar left stranded. We're going to the 9th at Globe Life Park. Tigers leading the Rangers 2-0 on Fox Sports Southwest. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event. And see why Ford is the best in Texas. Now, Keone Kela back out to the hill now. He will pitch the 9th inning. Miguel Cabrera leading things off for the Tigers. Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and J.D. Martinez. Cabrera 2 for 3 tonight. A couple of singles, an intentional walk. One ball, one strike. Cabrera, by going 2 for 3 now, is up to his average to .313. Two and one. Cabrera's home run total of 26. It's tied for 8th in the American League. Very quietly amassing outstanding numbers again this year. Head of the count here to Kela. 3 balls and a strike. Francisco Rodriguez is the closer for the Tigers, and he's loosening in the bullpen. Three and two.
Yeah, Cabrera, the chase went out of the strike zone there.
Kela with the payoff pitch to Cabrera. Got him swinging.
Got him on the same pitch.
Yep.
That's unusual. Job by Keone. Yeah, the last 4 hitters have been strikeout victims.
Victor Martinez.
Well, if you can throw the ball there consistently at 96 or so, you can get that kind of reaction from Cabrera. Swings and misses at him. He doesn't do that very often. A 1 out now. Victor Martinez 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Steps in. Martinez grounded an RBI base hit to center in the 5th inning. That plated the first Detroit run. Second run scored the next inning on Casey McGee's RBI double. One ball and one strike. Victor Martinez, the 37-year-old man of Venezuela. He has been an outstanding hitter at major league level for a lot of years. Two and one. He's battled all kinds of leg issues, knee problems, and several surgeries on his knees. And those injuries forced him to give up catching. Odor in shallow right. Throws out Martinez. 2 gone. Next will be J.D. Martinez.
Right fielder J.D. Martinez.
Folks, you can follow Rangers Baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a lot more. Download MLB.com at Bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. There you go. Focused vision. J.D. Martinez 1 for 4 this evening. He has struck out each of the last 2 times that he came to the plate, or he has come to the plate. Both those were against Cole Hamels. Hamels ended up with 5 strikeouts tonight. One of the odder games that we've seen Cole Hamels pitch. Cole gave up 14 hits, 3 walks in 7 innings, and only 2 hits.
Again, that's the most hits he's allowed in a game by 2. But the time he gave up the 12 hits, he also gave up 9 runs to the Giants. Tonight it was 2 more hits and 7 less runs.
Out of play, a ball and 2 strikes to J.D. Martinez. Yeah, that's right on the verge of pulling a rabbit out of the hat. You can get those things done that Cole was able to do tonight. He's surrounded by Tiger base runners every time he looked up. Good defense, some timely quality pitches. Kellis 1-2. Keone, the 23-year-old out of the Seattle area. Had a little elbow surgery earlier in the year. He is back to 100% now. Breaking ball. J.D. Martinez laid off it. Full count. Struck out Tom Hallion too, the home plate umpire. 38,000 on hand, getting behind Keone Kela. And he lost it. 2-out walk puts J.D. Martinez aboard and brings up Justin Upton. It's also going to bring a visit from Doug Brocail. Doug out to give a little encouragement to Keone Kela and getting some support from Jonathan Lucroy, Alex Claudio, Tony Barnett. Left-hander, right-hander combination in that Ranger bullpen. Upton will be the next hitter to face Keone Kela. He has singled in 4 trips. Oh, 0-1. Nothing fancy about that. Here, I've got 96 or so, and we'll see if you can turn it around. A ball and a strike. Upton, who had the single back in the 5th inning, snapped an 0 for 17 with that base hit. And Beltre cuts that hopper off. On to Moreland, and that'll do it. The Walker left stranded. Nothing going for the Tigers. We are going to go to the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be Beltre, Beltran, and Odor with the Rangers trailing 2-0.
Rangers to have 14 hits and only give up 2 runs. We'll talk about his Houdini efforts and the great defense played by the Rangers coming up on Rangers Live, presented by Frontier Communications after the game. We'll hear from Cole. We'll get reaction to the clubhouse with Emily Jones, Jeff Bannister, and of course the great Mark McLemore will be on the set for what hopes to be the Major League leading 37th comeback victory of the year. Let's kick it across the diamond to Buzz and Tom.
All right, Rick, thank you. Well, Rangers, an opportunity now to add to the lore that they have created. Another 9th inning comeback. They are going to have to do it against one of the best all time, and that would be Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod. The closer now for the Detroit Tigers. He is appearing for the 46th time this year. He is 32 out of 35 in save opportunities. And Adrian Beltre takes a strike at the top of the strike zone. Questioning look back at Tom Hallion.
K-Rod used to have a fastball in the mid-90s, 94, 96. Not quite the same. About an average fastball now. Probably gets in the low 90s. It's that hard breaking ball that got him all the strikeouts and all the saves.
Beltre takes that fastball well inside, foul. It's 0-2. Beltre over the years 4 out of 15 against Rodriguez. And Francisco Rodriguez had a year where he had 62 saves for the Angels back in 2008.
Wow, I remember the year he came up toward the end of the season. Might have come up in September. The year might have been the year they won the World Series. Played a huge role.
Yeah, 2002, I think, wasn't it?
Was that the year?
I believe so, yeah. Came up in September, that's right.
Probably pitched about 10 innings, didn't give up anything.
Worked 8 2/3 in that year. Gave up 1 run.
Yeah, I can remember he was dominating. Yeah. Called it a slider. It actually looked more like a curveball.
Right.
But whatever you want to call it, it was hard and it broke sharply straight down. And it was just about unhittable. Still throws it. I think a lot of with him right now is he's got the confidence, he's got the know-how, he's been there, and even though his stuff might not be the same, he's still a formidable closer.
A 2-2 to Beltre. Base hit to center field. The one thing you knew about Adrian Beltre, he wasn't going to hit him against the reputation. He knew exactly what he was facing up there. And Beltre with another multi-hit game. He leads off the Ranger 9th, and that brings the tying run to the plate in the person of Carlos Beltran.
Well, in a 2-run game, the Rangers have the right guys coming up. Every one of them can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and now Adrian's on base, and if they do, it'll be at least a tie game.
Beltran tonight 0 for 3. Over the years, he hasn't had that many at-bats against Rodriguez. A swinging strike. Carlos is 1 for 4.
I forgot to mention, in addition to the fastball and that hard breaking ball, also has a nice changeup. Carlos saw it on the first pitch.
Yes, he did.
In case he was looking for a fastball, K-Rod had a little surprise there.
Tigers now take McGee, the third baseman, and put him between Kinsler and the first baseman, Cabrera. 1 ball and 1 strike. Wouldn't offer that changeup. Beltran tonight, a couple of fly balls and a strikeout. Batting average for the year at .304. Straight, and it's 1-2. Very good.
No one throws a changeup harder than he does. No. Not velocity wise, but his whole body is flying on that thing.
Is down in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, that's what guys said about him when they hit against him when he first came up, is that all the body motion kind of made him very deceptive.
Yeah.
Plus throwing that hard. So it made it doubly tough.
He throws that changeup as hard as he can throw it, and then the grip makes it go slower.
Yep. Beltran waiting. 2-2 the count with Beltre at first. Pulled to right field. Martinez with the play in the corner.
Boy, almost.
One out.
Got a changeup a little bit out in front of it.
Now batting second baseman, Rougned Odor.
Carlos taking a peek at the scoreboard on the way back.
You can see where that ball hits the bat right off the end of the bat. Just missed it. If that ball stayed inside by a couple of inches, it would have been a home run, but it was tailing away on the outside corner. Almost. That's a matter of a couple of inches down on the barrel of the bat would have made all the difference in the world.
So, one away for Rougned Odor, who's 0 for 3 tonight. And Rougned has never faced Francisco Rodriguez, at least in the regular season. They have faced him in spring training somewhere along the way. Takes a strike. 0-1. Rougned tonight is not hit with a runner on base, so this is an opportunity for him here. Fly ball to center, a pop out to first, and a swinging strike 3 in the other 3 at bats. A little bit low. The count evens. I gave you the numbers for when the Rangers are trailing after 7. When they're trailing after 8, they have mounted 5 comebacks this year. When they've been behind after 8 full innings to win the ball game. At home, just one of those. A little bit low, 2-1.
We've been putting a little patient at bat together right here so far after 3 pitches.
Rodriguez, the 37-year-old veteran. Odor, the 22-year-old everyday second baseman for the Rangers. 2 balls and a strike with Beltre at first. Up the middle, near the bag at second. Machado on to first, the double play, and that ends the ball game. Dixon Machado able to get the ball right behind the bag, step on first, and double up Rougned Odor. And the Tigers have shut out the Rangers. Tigers behind Matt Boyd, Shane Green, and Francisco Rodriguez shut the Rangers out on just 3 hits tonight. Second time in the span of 8 days that the Rangers have been shut out on 3 hits. Last Friday night it was in Houston against the Astros. Tonight it's at home against the Detroit Tigers. And the final out is Odor. Hit it right back up the middle. The shift did the Rangers in with Machado near the bag to field the ball. So 2-0 the final. We'll be back with more at Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.